What is up, guys? So this is part 2 of my beginner's guide. Last time we saw the absolute basics, what was BFGA2, the game modes, and an overview of the factions. And in this video I will tell you how to win a multiplayer game. I won't talk about strategies or tactics, but rather what are the conditions you must meet to have victory written on your screen. I was hesitating between having this part come first in the series, but if you are like me, I play a lot of board games and card games and stuff like that, and one thing that annoys me is when people explain a new game and they start giving you tips and advices, but they never tell you how to actually win the game. In the next video we will talk about the stats and what they mean, and by knowing how to win, those stats will make a whole lot more sense. And of course, before we start, if it's not already the case, be sure to subscribe and activate the notification so you know when a new video comes out. So how does one win a multiplayer game of BFGA2? There is two ways to end a game. Either one of the players reaches a certain amount of points, or either one of the players no longer has any ship under his control. Don't worry, I'll tell you how to achieve both, but we won't go too in-depth strategy wise, that's for another video. And of course you can have your opponent rage quit, but we won't really talk about that one. Let's talk about points first. If you look at the top of your screen, you will see a point counter. Either players need to get the required amount of points first to win the game. There is two ways to gain points: by controlling flags on the map or by getting rid of enemy ships. So let's talk about the flags first. Each map will have 5 of those capture points scattered randomly around the map. Usually no side is really favored, but some setup do lead to one side having a slight advantage. The flags have a circle around them, and you need a ship inside that circle to capture the point. A blue flag is under your control, a red flag is controlled by the enemy, and a white flag is neutral. Each flag will give 1 point every second to the player who controls it. The more ships you have inside the capture zone, the faster they will capture it. Also, the heavier in class a ship is, the faster it will capture. Capturing a neutral flag is faster than capturing an enemy controlled one, since to capture an enemy flag you need to bring it all the way back to a neutral status, then you can claim it for yourself. Also keep in mind when capturing that at any point if an enemy ship enters the capture zone, your capping is cancelled no matter how far up the capture bar you've made it. You will have to clear the zone of enemy ships, then you will be able to start your capping from the beginning. A few tips: always keep an eye on the 5 flag markers on top of your screen, as you can quickly see if any of them are being captured. You can deny any capture by having a ship of your own in the cap zone. Even an escort ship will do the trick. Do not underestimate flags, they will give you a whole lot of points over the course of a game, and whole strategies are built around running capture points. The other way of gaining points is by getting rid of enemy ships. You will gain points equal to the cost in points of the ship you just got rid of. I'm not using the word destroy here, since destroying is only one of the ways to get rid of a ship. But that being said, the first way to get rid of a ship, and the most obvious one of course, is to bring its HP to 0, which will destroy it. There's a few ways to do this, the most straightforward one being using weapon damage. Other ways of achieving this is with specialized weapons such as squadrons, torpedoes, beams, fires. Some skills and upgrades also do damage, such as bombs, maelstroms, tiled ray gun shot, just to name a few. Another way to lower a ship's HP is to ram your own ships into it to cause damage. But you will also suffer damage for doing this. The ship class and speed of either ships determines the amount of damage done. And finally, you can scuttle your own ships. We will talk about scuttling soon, to cause damage to any ships around it. The second way to get rid of a ship is by putting it in a mutiny or fleeing state and have them leave the map. Once a ship is in a fleeing or mutiny state, it will no longer be under its owner's control and will start making its way to the edge of the map. Once it reaches the edge, it will disappear and you will gain points equal to its cost as if you destroyed it. A ship will go into mutiny or fleeing if its morale is at 0. As with HP, there is plenty of ways to lower a ship's morale. Each event that lowers morale is affected by the ship's bravery, which will increase or decrease the amount of morale lost for that event. Such events are taking damage, having a friendly ship destroyed nearby, having your flagship destroyed, taking troop damage, being on fire, ramming or getting rammed. Also, certain skills and weapons inflict morale losses. A ship in mutiny can execute troops to regain morale and control of the ship, but to the cost of going to the next lower troop tier. We will talk about this more in depth in the next video, but basically there is 3 tiers of troops, and each time you go lower one tier, bad stuff happens. You drop one tier each time your troop count hits 0, and I will tell you what happens when you hit 0 troops on your last tier in a few minutes. You cannot use execute when in the last troop tier, and some ships simply do not have the option to execute and will be in a fleeing state. Also, ships without a deck or that had their decks destroyed cannot use execute. Also, your flagship can give morale to nearby ships and regain control of them at the same time with the rally command. Ships also have a command that gives them a morale boost, but they need to use it before being in mutiny or fleeing. The third way to get rid of a ship is to put it in a drifting hulk state and have its owner scuttle it. To put a ship in a drifting hulk state, you simply have to bring the troop count to 0, but remember there is 3 tiers of troops. So if a ship has a 10 troop stat, you need to kill 30 troops in total. You can quickly see the tier on which a ship is from the user interface. Green troop count is on tier 1, yellow is on tier 2, and red is last tier. As with everything else, you have plenty of options to bring down troop count, assault actions, boarding squadrons, critical hits, skills and upgrades, and certain ship specific weapons and attributes can cause troop damage. Once a ship has 0 troops left, it will go into a drifting hulk. Its owner now has 2 choices. Either he sends more troops to that ship via commands or some skills, or he scuttles it. Scuttling a ship will cause damage to all ships around it in the same manner a bomb would, and the opponent gains whatever points that ship cost once it explodes. And to end on how to make points, any player has the option to disengage a ship from the battle. The ship will permanently leave the game, but the opponent will get only half the points they normally would if the ship was removed any other way. A thing to keep in mind, as those points could be the difference between victory or defeat. Now that we have seen how to win by being the first to get the required amount of points, let's talk about the other way you can win. If at any point a player doesn't have control of any of his ships, he loses. We will get quickly through this since the ways to make a ship uncontrolled are the same as to get rid of a ship. A player does not have control of a ship if it is destroyed, of course, if it is fleeing, if it is in mutiny and does not have the option to execute, or if it is a drifting hulk. So if at any point a player has all of his ships in any of those states, he loses. I'll just quickly recap those states without going too much in depth since we just talked about them. A ship is destroyed when its HP is brought to 0. A ship is in mutiny or fleeing when its morale is at 0. The ship won't be able to execute if it's on tier 3 of troops or his deck is destroyed. And a ship will be a drifting hulk if its troop count is at 0. So there you have it guys, the 2 ways you can win the game, either by being the first to get the required amount of points, or if at any point your opponent does not have control of any of his ships. In part 3 we will go through every ship stats and attributes, and now that you know how to win a game, you'll better understand how those stats will affect your strategies. And of course guys, as usual, remember a lot of work goes into these videos, so if you could subscribe, share, like, and throw some comments, it's always appreciated, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.